So good afternoon, ma'am. Welcome to Curious Times. And we are very honored to have you. And here is a small bit of, interview that we want to conduct. And we want this interview to reach out to as many aspiring leaders. This interview is for our magazine Ed Leaders, but we want this to go out to as many inspiring leaders in the education or any other space for that matter. And also we will close with the messages to the students, but let's first start we want to understand that early on, how did you say that teaching is my profession? Because there are lots of teachers that we observe, at least in our thing, where they could have taken probably this career because this came easy for them, or this was nearest thing to do in terms of their school to teach. But there are people who have taken up this career for other reasons. So we want to understand your reasons, how you came into the teaching profession.
So thank you so much, Deepti, for giving me this opportunity. And I'm indeed terribly delighted to speak to you from the United Arab Emirates, currently working as the Educational Affairs Director and the Principal for Woodland Group of Schools here. And then it's awesome to see that, there's such a very noble organization that has looked into something which is the need of the hour, and that is to give children the right mindset, because that's something nobody is working on. There's lots of disturbances that's been happening in the past, but very bad in the last 3 years. And for some passionate educators like yourself to delve into the area of what a child requires, and then to make it as easy and simple to them through newsletters or newspapers, I think commendable. So first of all, my profound joy I'm expressing, and really commend you on this endeavor. And it's been my pleasure to be a part of your journey. And I hope that the days ahead also, we will be contributing more to this, so that, of course, we're all here with a purpose. And the purpose for me at this fag end of my career, as I know I'm starting my second innings in the Gulf, I believe that I have so much to offer, and I think the course of conversations we can discuss all of that.
Yes.
To talk about what made me an educator, or whether I came in by choice or whether this was my passion, I think I made my first stride in 1985 in a small hometown in Tamil Nadu, the bottom. I went into a school as a kindergarten teacher. So I had the opportunity to take these toddlers, this mud clay, and give it shape, along with the affection and love that I thought I had in plenty. I don't know whether it is very synonymous of my name, but I believe that it is with love that you can get anything done. And I was so fortunate enough to be, able to get these little ones in my hand, to be able to say that so many of them have rested on my shoulders and today are celebrities, actors, actresses. So many are entrepreneurs, so many are educators, so many of them across the globe. And the beauty of the whole thing is I didn't do it only for India, but I had the opportunity of coming outside the country. And today I can say I have global children, and who are still connected with me on Facebook and the social media. So that's where they are. To start off, I need to say I've always wanted to take my father's footsteps. I happen to be in a army background family. So I'm so fortunate to have a dad who said that even if you sit and talk to anybody, whoever is in front of you, whether it is someone senior or junior or even a little child, you should leave a mark and you should haunt them, that they should come back to you always. And I think I have made that happen till this moment. So that's my individuality. And yes, so I passionately wanted to give my best. And I thought, nurturing these little ones in 1985 with the kindergarten, what more should an educator ask? Because I know that teaching is not by choice for me. It was a passion and I drove myself towards it. In fact, my education I can't tell you that I'm 100% regular based teacher, because 37 years down the lane, I've been a teacher, I've been an administrator, and then got into quality. I've been a quality assurance specialist. I've been the Quality Council of India School Assessor. I'm an ISO certified 21001 lead auditor, and still continuing to learn, because that is what I thought. When you have passion, then you do everything you need to get there, and that can only come when you are a learner. So to cut it all short, I am till today a learner and will continue to have this thirst for learning. So while I'm saying that the passion to be a teacher was within me, there was no external force. It was just an inherent desire to be a role model for the youth of tomorrow. Counting 36 years behind me, I still think I have a lot more to give, because I believe in learning, unlearning, and relearning.
Right.
And when my dad was in the armed forces, I thought it was his conviction that no one should just come and go, just be born and go, but should be able to conquer and leave a legacy behind. Your place must be a vacuum. And this is what I told myself then, and I'm telling that myself today. So I can call myself I am so passionate about being a teacher, and I would love to be called a teacher, although right now my positions and the experience life has offered me is very different.
Right.
However, education has and will always be my cup of tea. There is no second thought to it. No other. It is never going to replace any of the choices in the world for me now or at any point of time in my life. Because every single challenge that came in my life, I celebrated.
Right.
Because I realized that the myriad lessons that we receive are beautiful chapters that unfold in our life. And as an educator, I have had so many of them for all its stakeholders, whether it is teachers, students, parents, management, or for your own self. So, because I think in any industry, everyone, when they have a career, there is a beginning and an end. You call it the retirement age. But tell me, where is retirement for an education? We are immortal that way.
Right.
Continue to serve, and we are always looked upon. Because when you are a great teacher, or then in my case, from the teacher to that of a leader, the influence that you leave on every single human being who comes and passes your way is something that is so beautiful. And that you cherish when you walk across the entire globe. I have my students as pilots. I have my students in the armed forces. I have my students in the ministerial offices. I have my students as architects, doctors, lawyers. It's so beautiful. Totally. And I'm so happy that all of them are doing so well, wonderfully well across the globe. And more than anything, they are still connected to me. My first standard toddler is still connected to me, thanks to technology and social media platforms. We remain forever in their hearts. I think that feeling is worth $1 million. And nothing to say.
Ma'am, so I mean, this is wonderful. I think I'm getting inspired. Like, why didn't I study from you? So I think our next thing where we would like to understand is like, it looks like a very sort of, it looks like a great journey, but every great journey has its challenges, right? So from your perspective, like, moving from a kindergarten teacher to scaling the heights that you have done and achieved so much, and now you're leading organizations, you are leading the leaders, right? What were the challenges? And then obviously looking at you, you're such a strong leader, you have overcome them. But what were those challenges? Because your answer to this will actually help many other teachers look at challenges in the same manner that you looked at and get inspired from how to overcome them. So,
Right. Yeah. So the word, I love you. Thank you for using the word challenge, because most of us like to say, okay, so what were the problems you encountered? I think I removed the word problem from my dictionary when I was in grade 7, because my dad told me that you should never use it in your life. Every obstacle is a lesson of learning. So that's a challenge for you. So challenges, I just love this word. And true to it, life has had its ups and downs, because yes, I was very lucky to have clinched these coveted leadership positions very young. I became a vice principal, I think, in my late 20s. And then early 30s, I left the country to be on my own without my family, because everybody has their priorities. And my husband obviously told me, look, I'm a government employee and I don't think I need to come behind you, because you decide one day that you want to go out of the world to the world and see how it is. So you go, you finish, you come back, and I'm waiting for you. But the challenge was to be away from family, at the same time to ensure that you have the patience and you are still connected when there was no technology at that time. Hardly. It was always at the letters and the mobiles that were placed in some strategic locations on the roads that I used to connect with my husband. I left behind a 6-year-old, a 10-year-old child, was in grade 6, and it wasn't easy. So as somebody who was part and parcel of a normal human life, I realized that one needs to address these challenges with a smile. Now, look, I left the country when I was a vice principal of a very prestigious institution called Chettinad Vidyashram in Chennai. Very prestigious. I must thank my pioneers there, my leader, my principal there, Mr. Gopal, and more than anything, the famous Meena auntie. Wherever she is, God bless her with good health. She is the one who saw the leadership in me and recommended me. So those are my leaders. I was so gifted to have great leaders and mentors in my life that I could sail any obstacle with a lot of confidence. And having held a position of a vice principal, where you have 5,000 students and you are just in your 20s, and then you have leaders about 300, 400 under you, okay, to leave all of that and then come to a land where you don't know anybody. And the first thing I was asked to teach was kindergarten. Wasn't that a challenge? Somebody who's come up and then you say, get back to kindergarten. And that's the challenge we have in this part of the world. Most of them are insecure. So positions, if they see very enterprising people, it's very difficult. They get very insecure. So obviously I was asked to go. So my first challenge started after having all of this, the post-graduations that you can accumulate, 3, 4, and about 20, that time must be about 15, 16 years experience already at that time. I was asked to teach kindergarten and I wept, but I wept alone, because at that time, the one who helped me to brave that challenge was my husband. So that is why they say behind the success of me, I always say proudly, is my husband till today. Okay. And he told me, wherever you stand, if you're inside, get out of the house, look outside, look on to the sky. If you can see the sun, be very happy. If you can't see it, don't feel dejected, because right now the clouds are covering it, it will come out. And if you are my wife and the daughter of an armed force, be there, win, and come back victorious. And true to my word, yes, I made it. And I went back home as the only Indian of a ministry which is looking into quality when I was asked to teach. So that is how life has taken me. Challenges, I decided introspection. So how do you brave them? Self-introspection, very important. researching mind, very important. Keeping abreast of all the happenings and learning to say, yes, I can. Even when you know you don't know it, there is nothing wrong, because that will give you the urge and the thirst and the quest to find out what is it that you don't know, and you will find yourself scaling. The most important thing is, whatever you do, do it in style. Wherever you go, carry yourself like a queen. Have a personality that nobody can forget. It's not about being celebrities. No, in your own world, celebrate yourself. You need to celebrate yourself. That is how you will break a challenge. And wear the smile always, because when you smile, you make everybody. And I think from when I have come into this earth till this very moment, it's not that we don't have problems. We have myriads of problems. But I often tell myself that someone who sees me should get a mental break, because they should be able to experience the joy that I have in seeing them. So to brave your challenges, tell yourself, you have to be that post for others to see you, to role model you, to imitate you, and then sky is the limit. So as said, my husband said, those clouds were there only for a few months. Within few months, I could brave all the challenges of getting back to the vice principal, before long, the Ministry of the Higher Education. So that gave me an opportunity to work hard. And from the school, I went into the college, and gave me a huge learning of the university. Now, is that what it is? And that is the end? No, because when you have the desire to learn, and you ensure that learning should happen from when you born till your grave, there is no challenge that you cannot mitigate. Every challenge is a beautiful opportunity of learning, and you are growing, and you are going to get confident because you are finding out a way. So you have to be a good leader. You have to adapt and adopt and be a Rome. And when you're in Rome, be a Roman. So learn things that will make you feel comfortable. Challenges will come, and it will definitely. So the challenges of peer pressure, of not being able to, put your best forward, because this mindset change, people are very resistant to change. Differentiated instructions, they don't want. They are not wanting to understand that children are from different background, and there is no one stereotype question paper that can give you the answers for children. They have to be groomed according to their style of learners. Right. So the challenges were mainly for me in telling the stakeholders, whether it is parents, teachers, or students, that you have a style of your own. First understand, are you a kinesthetic learner, auditory learner, or are you a visual learner? If that is your style, adopt and adapt that mode to understanding. Life will become beautiful. So with children, that was the approach. With parent, there was this need to tell them that you just have to be more of a friend without boundaries, so that a child will be able to come and tell you his or her whole school days, because childhood memories are something that you carry to your grave. Right. And I'm sure you and I will agree that if ever we had a magic wand, the first thing we say is give us back our childhood days, especially in these days when learning is so much of fun, when you can collaborate, when you can think out of the box, when you can write what you want, you don't have to do rote memory, you are not cut into write only what the teacher says. All of these are challenges that I faced in that time. But I understood that if I was not futuristic, I will never get anywhere. And that is why I can tell you that thinking about technology, integrating technology into the classroom was my biggest challenge in the 2000s. I'm talking about that era, 2010, 2008, 9, 10. Yes, technology, integrating it and taking it forward was the biggest challenge. Mindset change was the next. System-based approach. They were all people-centered. And getting the management to invest in a system was a challenge. But I took it. I boldly made it happen. And if you think that, okay, you have all your master degrees and now you are an excellent English teacher, you can teach anybody. My ego took the worst beating when I was teaching the bankers English, the adults. I realized that 4 master degrees with B.Ed, M.Ed, whatever you want, was not enough to make learners understand the importance of communication. And being an English teacher, there was so much, they all had a problem. I'm talking about adults, and I realized I had to learn. I went and registered for the teaching of English as a foreign language course with all of this from the Aston University and got myself trained.
Right.
My challenge at that time was, are you prepared to learn? Because you are making mistakes. And when I watched my video, I understood that I was only in a monologue, not respecting the emotions of these adults. They had no clue what I was saying, because I was questioning them, I was answering them, and I was demeaning them. I was doing everything. So there was a need for me to adopt a new style and understand my learners. And that is when I started to realize that whatever be it, challenges are going to be there, but everything is definitely going to be a learning experience. Talk about documentation, talk about evidence building, talk about having a strategic plan from your school. No principal will immediately talk on this realm because we are all into operations.
Right.
We are trying to find out which teacher went to which class. We are trying to find out what is the mark he scored in one test. We are trying to find out how many staff came to school. We're all into the nitty-gritty operations. We're sitting and observe. That is why I don't like observation in the rank of a principal. I would like to go for observation in the rank of a peer buddy, because the minute this stigma, we are attached to this stigma, this position. The minute teachers see you, the challenge for me at that time was I was not getting to understand the real teachers, because they were fabricating, they were masking themselves, they were teaching something. The minute they saw me, they were doing something else. So why trouble a teachers? Because the teacher is the master of her class, and no one has any right to get in and disturb that connection and that equilibrium in a classroom.
Right.
Whatever has to be taught must be written down. And as a leader, the biggest challenge is in aligning meaningful, continual professional development programs for teachers throughout the year. So those are things. If you ask me, I can give you more, but I thought of
we are definitely expecting a detailed write-up from you and of your career journey, because Ed Leaders as a magazine is actually going to only focus on some brilliant journeys of the education leaders. Just a closing message for your students and students on Curious Times and students across the world who you have taught, or the 21st century children who are teaching in any part of the world. Like, what's your message?
So first of all, a message for all my colleagues around, especially aspiring teachers and the leaders. I think a leader's role is a responsibility as much as an opportunity. Because within the academic industry, leaders must continually cultivate their skills and use them to create lasting change. Keeping the bigger picture in mind is very important. Right. And when a person in a leadership position harnesses their powers, they strengthen the opportunities of not only themselves, their team, and even build more leaders rather than diminishing them around them. Right. So what is it? As leaders, we must always remember that it is not about, keeping that thought constantly and saying, I'm always right.
Right.
It's about getting promoted or looking for the best. It's about the cause of the organization. All leaders, please take note. It's about the cause of the organization and serving the legitimate needs of those who are leading. With this approach, results will surely follow. As for my kids, I tend to think that the present scenario of this global pandemic has sort of changed our students. But I often realize that it has also made them more resilient, more mature. They've become smart, independent learners. So my quick word of advice to these little ones is to try and use the internet as a tool for education, more than you use it for entertainment. Though the internet can keep you entertained for hours, using it the right way, going into the right sites, will make a lot of difference. And it will also make you into a researched scholar. It will give you far more reaching effects of becoming an educated person. You don't need teachers to educate you anymore. You need only teachers to facilitate the right type of understanding that is required. You don't need theater classrooms anymore. You need studios. So make your classroom a studio and enjoy the art of learning. Remember that every choice you make shapes your character. So choose wisely, because you are never too young to make an impact on anybody. Thank you so much, Deepti. I think
we will stay in touch, ma'am. And thank you for your wonderful words for students, for your colleagues, and for the inspiring leaders that we have. And we will stay in touch. We look forward to have you in Ed Leaders magazine. And we hope we will continue to stay in touch with you, and we will have more interactions with you. Thank you so much, and wishing you, your school teachers, and your immediate leaders in your school a very happy Teachers Day. We look forward to their participation and all the students' participation, all the cards that they want to make on Curious Times, so that it reaches out many more teachers, many more other students, and we just need to be, very much together for this event. And I'm looking for a very successful event myself, and having you as our ongoing member for multiple other.
Thank you, Deepti. I'm honored.
So much, ma'am. Yeah, thank you for your time, and it was our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.